Like a lot of people out there, I've got many heroes. And one of my biggest heroes is the modern day philosopher, Iron Mike Tyson. Now, what I love most about Mike is his ability to talk candidly and openly about being afraid and about fearing other men and fearing obstacles and challenges and opponents. It's a very bold and brave, courageous thing to do, to be able to actually talk about the things that shit you up. But the thing that I'll never forget about Mike is when he said that fear can either be your best friend or your worst enemy. If you know how to control it, you can create a fire with it and it can feed your family. But if you don't know how to control it, it can set fire to your house and it can destroy you. But that's not the best thing that Mike said about fear, in my opinion. What I love most about the philosophy of Mike and his philosophy around fear was when he said that when he stepped into the ring as a young man, he was also always afraid of the person standing in front of him. He literally thought that everyone who stood in front of him, every opponent, was going to kill him, was going to tear his arms and legs off. And that is what gave him the motivation, the passion to knock them out in the first round. He also said that although he was afraid of every single person he faced, he was never intimidated by anybody. And someone challenged him on this, and they said, but Mike, isn't being intimidated and being afraid the same thing? And Mike said, absolutely not. He goes, if I'm afraid of something, my body prepares me to walk straight through it, to knock it out in the first round. And that's a good thing. But he says, but if I'm intimidated by something, my body prepares me to run away from it. And I've never run away from it. I've always walked towards it and gone through it. So my question to you is this. Think about the biggest obstacle or opponent that stands in front of you. It could be a new job. It could be the end of a job. It could be the end of a marriage. It could be a midlife crisis. It could be anything, yeah. Think about that opponent that stands in front of you. And ask yourself, am I afraid of this or am I intimidated by it? If you're afraid of it, then ask yourself, is this fear that I feel something that's actually telling me to move forwards, to progress through it, to see my freedom at the other side of it? And if you're intimidated by it, ask yourself, what do I need to do to move myself from intimidation down to simply being afraid so that I can move through it, so that I can knock it out in the first round? If you don't know how to take your threat level from being intimidated, where you run away or freeze, to being merely afraid of it, where you move forwards through it and succeed and are victorious, then let's chat.